Support by Total Energies. 70 years of innovation in lubricants for all types of engines.
In this episode, we embark on a quest to find the ultimate family vehicle.
Luxury cabriolets from Mercedes and Lexus come under the spotlight.
And we examine a Hyundai Getz with excessive fuel consumption.
Hello and welcome to Buyer's Guide. Every week we try to provide you with useful advice, whether it relates to buying, selling or maintaining a vehicle. If you have a question for the team, you can send an email to buyersguide@ignitiontv.co.za, containing as much information as possible, as well as a picture of yourself.
And joining us in studio to help resolve those troubling automotive issues are Michael Pursuit from Change Cars and new to Buyer's Guide, Tsepo Beta from Better Cars. Welcome, gentlemen, and special welcome to you, Tsepo.
Thank you, sir.
Nice to have you. Sir! Hey, he's going to arrest me.
Good to have you guys back in studio. Mike, you've been here lots. Tsepo, this is your first time. I'm sure we're going to have a great time today.
So you guys can call me sir.
Sorry, sir.
Oh.
All right, let's just get into our first question, which comes from Mokopa, a father of 4 children who's interested in purchasing a vehicle for the daily run. He's interested in the following within his budget of 200,000 Rand. The Jeep Renegade, Mazda CX-5 or Renault Kadjar. Tsepo, being new to the show, which car you think would be ideal for him?
Well, I personally think the Mazda CX-5. Reason being, I mean, the 2-liter engine is perfect, synonymous. Driven it as well on test for a few times. The only reason that would sort of not make me go with the other options listed is the Jeep Renegade. I mean, both of the models here are discontinued as well. So I think the CX-5 is the best bet, but that's why
And
I'm
you can
here
add to the
today.
fact that that thing's a piece of junk. Mike,
You guys both have workshops. You will know. How often do you have a Mazda come in with a problem versus a Renault or an old Jeep? I've only got
Mazda and problem, they don't sort of, those two words don't.
Correct.
Mazda CX-5 for 200,000 Rand is another story though. This is the problem.
It's going to have high mileage,
Yeah.
but if you're going to buy a high mileage car with 200,000 Rand, it's got to
better
be
be
the
a
Mazda.
Mazda.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If you're going to buy a low mileage Renault, don't buy it.
Yeah.
Let alone a high mileage Renault.
Exactly. So if you can find a CX-5 in that sort of price range of 200,000 Rand, that's the one to go for. But like Mike quite rightly says, you're going to find something worth well over 200,000 Ks. So if I said to you again, okay, I want to buy a medium-sized SUV for 200,000 Rand, is there something else you'd throw in there, Mike?
Any of the Toyotas, any of the Hondas in that category. Go online, look at any of the Nissans. Again, we're only comparing it to the Renault and the Jeep. Mazda, tick the box, just high mileage. Look in your price range between Nissan, Honda and Toyota and see what's got the lowest
But with
mileage.
the Honda and Toyotas, even with the Nissan, you're also going to get high milers in your 200,000 Rand.
I've become a huge fan of that Honda WRV. Small little 1200 engine, so it's not peppy, but you can buy them newish in the mid 200s.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for good value for money, something like that. What do you
Honda
think?
CRV, Tsepo, you could pick up in that price range as well. Also a good car.
No, easily. I mean, as I said, I think I'd agree with Mike here. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. So I would suggest we leave out the Jeep and we leave out the Renault Kadjar.
Definitely.
If you can find a CX-5, a good one in that sort of price range, grab that. Otherwise, I would say look for a Honda CRV because I know you can get lots of them in that price range as well. And it's a big, spacious, reliable car. And if you buy it with 200,000 Ks on it, you know it's going to do another 200,000. Okay, so our next question is from Nomali, who is in the process of purchasing a car for her daily commute to work. She seeks a reliable, fuel-efficient options and is considering 3 models. 1, the Kia Picanto, the Hyundai Grand i10, and a Suzuki Swift, all of which should be automatic. She wants to know, Tsepo, which one should she go for?
Well, I mean, from the research I've already done, I'd have to go with the Suzuki Swift.
If you can find an automatic. But very hard to find an older Suzuki Swift automatic unless you're waiting for the new one.
She didn't give us a price. Mike?
We're assuming a budget for a new car.
So she looked at 3 incredible vehicles, Kia, Hyundai and Suzuki. In this particular instance, I would go in that order. The Kia first, then the Hyundai. Remember, they're all small little vehicles.
they're all good.
But without a shadow of doubt, I think the Kia and the Hyundai have got a nicer feel and finish than the Suzuki.
But
One
they're
thing I-
smaller, Mike.
They are smaller,
Yeah,
but
they're
he's
all
just-
Smaller than the Suzuki.
but she's looking for a small car, a small little runaround.
Yeah.
I always say, if you've identified a car that you like, you don't have to worry about it being suitable for you. But the Kia, what do you think of the Kia?
So I quite like the Kia, but I actually like the i10 because I find, like when we get in our workshop and to have repairs on them, they actually go for a long time. The gearboxes are very reliable and they're very fuel efficient. The Kia Picanto is also not too bad. It's basically the same car.
Correct.
The mechanic is just the styling. The Suzuki Swift in auto I don't like. It's got the AMT gearbox in, which quite frankly is garbage. So I would throw out the Suzuki Swift in this case, and I would look at either the Picanto or the i10. You go drive them and see which one you prefer. Mechanically, they're the same. You buy the 1.2. They're both good, reliable, fuel efficient. If you're looking at buying new, then obviously they both come with different warranties. The Kia is 5-year unlimited, if I remember, and the
Hyundai 7 years.
Hyundai is 7-year, 200,000. So they're both.
The Hyundai is a Grand i10, so
Yeah.
it's slightly bigger than the Kia Picanto. Slightly bigger, but it's, I would go with Adam in this instance.
But I think something that you said, Adam, and you've said it many times before, which one talks to you?
Yeah.
Go drive it. You're going to say, wow, I didn't even think this would be my first choice, but it's out and out my first choice. I like the way it drives. I like the way everything falls to hand. You've got to go drive a car.
Yeah.
All three are good brands. Hyundai, Kia, and Suzuki. You're not going to go wrong there, but go drive it.
Yeah, they, as Mike says, very good cars. Drive them, see what you feel, and make the choice on that.
Stay tuned, because after the break, luxury cabriolets from Mercedes and Lexus come under the spotlight.
And we search for a reliable Bakkie with a 120,000 Rand budget. That's going to be a hard one. Welcome back to Buyer's Guide. Alex, 53 years old, is looking for a 4-seater cabriolet with his 300,000 Rand budget. The vehicle will be used twice a weekend and is interested in the following vehicles: the Lexus IS250c and the Mercedes-Benz SLK. Obviously, it's a 2-seater. He's not open to the BMW 4 Series because it's maintenance costs, and Alex wants to know which vehicle should he consider. Mike, let's go to you first. There's cabriolets. You're a hairdresser kind of guy.
Thank
you like those kind of things.
Thank you. There, for me, that Lexus is a great choice.
Yes.
The one I'm going with there is a BMW 6 Series. Or up your budget just a little bit and look at an older Maserati. Have you seen what is available in Maserati?
Is he on drugs?
Yeah, he's probably on drugs. He's probably, we haven't seen him for a while. So,
All you need is another 2 million Rand.
Mike, the Maserati's a no-no. What about that 6 Series you mentioned?
Why is it a no-no? Is it too expensive?
It's too expensive to
Okay,
run.
so we
It's
don't
crazy.
need to add 2 million Rand. Let's just add a few 100,000
Yeah.
Rand. The BMW 6 Series. The gentleman is 53 years old.
Yeah.
Clearly distinguished. He's got good taste. He's looking at a Lexus.
Yeah.
I think that is an amazing car. And one other car I'm going to throw in, Jaguar XK. Now,
Yeah.
he said 4-seater, but he was prepared to look at an SLK.
Yeah.
If you look at a Jaguar XK, guaranteed 300 to 350, and what have they always got in common? Low mileage. When a car's got low mileage, doesn't matter how old it is, won't give problems.
Yeah. The Jag's a nice option. Tsepo, what
Well, I
fancy convertible would you go for?
So I think he had it right with the SLK.
Yeah.
But for me specifically, the 2006 SLK55. Now, I mean, if you can get one for around about that price as well, because I did check. And I mean, it's a perfect car. Naturally aspirated V8.
Isn't it a little bit underpowered?
But that small car, it needs a bigger engine.
That
yeah.
is magnificent. That is a nice option.
But you do know that it's just going to give you a thrill. It might want to kill you, but it's going to give you a thrill.
The
But
problem
you
I-
guys do know he asked for a 4-seater for a second.
Yeah.
So, you know,
There's
I've
one
got a
of those
second
options, yeah.
Okay, what's your second option?
So now, I think Mike had it right with the XK, but I'd take it a step further with the XKR.
Yeah,
Now-
the supercharged version.
Yeah, I mean, it's a V8. You can get one for around about that price as well.
Yeah, you see, my problem with, I like the options that you're giving. I just don't like the engine options because I know from experience that you buy a car like that, it's a fun car. You don't want to every now and then have to spend 200,000 Rand on the car to keep it going. So I'd say buy an SLK if you want a 2-seater. I think it's the best in this sort of bunch in terms of reliable. And you buy something like an SLK 350. It's a V6, it's got more than enough power. It's an engine that fits in, all the C classes and everything else. People know them to fix them, and they actually are good, reliable ones. It's the best one of the bunch because it's got the most powerful engine in it.
And nice performance.
In terms of comparison between like a 200 or a 55, enough performance. And you don't want to race the car around. I know what you want. You want the roof down. 4-seaters are a problem. You come up with a good suggestion there. Even the older XKs, not even the Rs, just the normal 4.2 litre early one, the engine was very strong. The problem with the supercharged 5 litre one is that that engine is a bit problematic, and it's very, very expensive to maintain. Things like brake pads can set you back, set of brakes on the car can set you back 50,000 Rand.
You know what I put in, gentlemen?
On a fun car? No.
I put him in the CLK55. It's a slightly older car, but it gives him all his 4 seats that he wants, and magnificent engine. That V8 is never going to trouble you.
Again,
normally
CLK
aspirated.
350. Take that major bulk out of it.
Yeah, okay, CLK 350 as well. Beautiful car.
And the fact that you've owned one, and I'm being serious, that helps.
The fact that I own one.
That is a very nice option. I didn't think of that. CLK, not even a question.
Car.
Also a great option. The problem with the 55 engines is not only the engine, it's all the suspension that goes with. Now you've got air suspension as opposed to normal shocks, and it just becomes so expensive to maintain. But that's a good one.
But that's the point you just raised, very important point, Adam. When you work on it yourself, you don't consider those
add-ons.
Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
Okay.
The air suspension and things like that.
So there we go.
Expensive.
There's a good suggestion from Segi. 1 in 10 years, the CLK.
Is that how long we're running now? 10 years? Right, our next question is from Greg, and he wants to buy a second-hand Bakkie within his budget of 120,000 Rand. He has the following options in mind: Chevrolet Corsa Utility, Nissan NP200, and Ford Bantam. The vehicle will primarily be used for light-duty tasks. It will also be used for weekend outdoor activities, requiring a balance of reliability and fuel efficiency. Which out of the bunch should he pick? I know what I'm going for because there's only one.
I think we all know.
So he speaks about fuel efficiency. The 1600s are not fuel inefficient, but the diesel, I think, is better. Are they troublesome?
Yes.
Yeah, they can be expensive to maintain.
To maintain.
Okay, 1600, 812 or 16 valve, what's your choice?
So we're talking about the NP200.
Of course.
So the Chevy, don't even think about it. The parts are ridiculously expensive. They're getting harder and harder to find. Don't even think about it. The Bantam's the same story. It's only one, NP200. And the one I would suggest you go for is the base model. It's the 1.6 8 valve. It's simple. It's cheap to fix. Anybody who knows a little bit about mechanics can fix it. The problem with the diesel version is it is a fairly reliable engine, but you've got turbochargers. When they fail, 15, 20,000 Rand to fix that. If you have problems with the injectors, and they will come because
fuel is
bad, cheap fueling or whatever,
True.
That's another 20 grand or so for them. If the engine fails, it's very expensive to fix, and you need a specialist to fix it. You can't just go to your buddy to fix it. So the 1.6 is a great little engine, and I actually have clients with them that do 500,000 Ks in them. If you maintain them, it's all about maintenance. Look after them. So what are we going to say? There's only one.
NP200.
NP200.
Well, just one more piece of advice for Greg.
Yeah.
You're looking at a vehicle that is ultra popular. Go onto any website. You won't see 10 or 20 or 30. You'll see 300 advertised. Take your time. Focus on the mileage, and I keep saying take your time. You'll find one this week that is immeasurably better than the one you saw last week.
Yeah.
Take your time. You don't need to buy one with 250,000 Ks. You'll find one with under 140,000, I think, with that price range.
Do you agree with that?
No, gentlemen, let's get back to the price. 120 grand is not going to get him anything top of the range or very.
Yeah, of course not.
That's why I say buy the basic entry level.
You buy the basic one.
Yeah.
You get the one with the least mileage. And I mean, for the fact that they sold over 12,000 last year, you're going to have your fair share.
Correct.
Yeah.
But of the 12,000, 10,000 are not any longer in this country.
Been stolen.
Okay, guys, we're going to be taking a short break, but when we get back, we examine a Hyundai Getz that has excessive fuel consumption.
And we advise a viewer who's considering fixing his late brother's Suzuki Swift. Hello and thank you for tuning in to Buyer's Guide. Ray drives a Hyundai Getz and has owned the car for about a year. He has noticed that the rev counter is too high when he's doing 60 kilometers an hour, causing excessive fuel consumption. He is questioning whether this behavior is normal for the Getz or is there an issue that needs to be addressed.
Okay, before we get into this, I just want to say, this is why when we ask you a question, give us as much information as possible. 1, is it an automatic? 2, is it a manual? 3, what is the sort of fuel consumption you're getting? Because the question that we get here, it's very difficult for us to ascertain if there's a problem or not. Mike?
So his biggest problem is a car like that should not be used on the highway. That is a city car.
Yeah.
Every single car has got a gearing in top gear per 1,000 revs.
Yeah.
If you take a big, powerful Range Rover, that car will be doing 75 kilometers for every 1,000 revs.
Yeah.
So at 150, you're doing 2,000 revs. That Hyundai Getz is geared to 28 kilometers
Yeah.
per 1,000. So
Yeah.
obviously, at 2,000 revs, you're doing 56 kilometers. Hence why he said at 2,000 revs, he's just doing around 60 kilometers an hour.
That's quite normal.
Car's correct. And
Yeah.
when a car's geared so low, what's your fuel consumption going to be on the open road?
Bit high.
Shocking. Absolutely.
But the thing is this as well, we don't know what that fuel consumption is. What some people say, oh, the car's heavy on fuel because I'm putting in fuel once a week. Yeah, but you're putting in $100 once a week, or you find that it's got a small fuel tank.
Correct.
So you've got
35, 40 liters.
yeah. So Tsepo, do you know what the average fuel consumption of a Getz would be roughly?
No, I mean, if it's a petrol and automatic or manual, because if it's a
Yeah,
manual,
there's a
it
difference.
would have a lower fuel consumption.
Yeah.
So maybe what, around about, my figures would be 7, 8 liters per 100.
Yeah, that's the sort of normal running that if you're driving it sensibly, anything from like 8 to 9 liters per 100. So what you need to do is you need to work out exactly what your fuel consumption is, and then you can ascertain if it's well within norms or if there is a problem. If you're not too sure, you can always take it to a workshop and let them check it out for you and see what
I can
if there
tell
is an
you,
issue.
I have never come across a car that's fuel consumption is higher than what it should be.
Yeah.
Maybe perceived to be higher.
Yeah.
But Ray's problem simply is he's driving that car on the open road and he's seeing 2,000 revs and he's doing just under 60 kilometers an hour.
Yep.
That's not where that car is at its happiest.
So
Yeah.
then don't you think that it might be a problem with the clutch?
Not at all. It's geared 28 kilometers per 1,000 revs in top gear. 56 kilometers an hour at 2.
So 3,000 RPM, if he's
Okay.
doing 90, then he's
That's
it's
right.
right.
Yeah.
That's how it is. It's smaller. It's not only the Hyundai Getz like that. All
Every
the smaller
car's
cars.
correct.
That's why you don't see rev counters in small cars. Like, always screaming out there like mad.
When you're doing 120 kilometers an hour in a small car, you're hearing a lot of noise.
Yeah, they're running
Because
at about
that
3,500,
engine is
4,000
revving.
revs. Yeah.
And in a big car, that engine's just like an idle almost. That's his
Power
problem.
to weight ratio.
I think Ray doesn't have a problem there. His car's right.
Yeah.
But let's give Ray a little bit of more information that if his rev counter is way up and his car's not going anywhere in a hurry, and it's a manual, he should probably have a look at the clutch.
I think I agree with
Or
that.
make sure he's in top gear.
Yes.
Yeah, it can be a
Because
problem.
he didn't say here he's in top gear and he's getting...
So have it checked out if you have any concerns. The best way to do is work your fuel consumption out. If you're getting anything under sort of 9 liters to 100 per 100 kilometers, it's average. It's normal for that car. Now, we're going to end off things with a question from Dumiso. He's considering repairing a Suzuki Swift for his son, who is a student at university. The car belonged to Dumasima's late brother and has been stored in a garage in the Free State since 2019. A major obstacle is the absence of keys and paperwork. Oh dear. He's uncertain whether it would be better to fix the vehicle or just dispose of it. Mike, this is your sort of thing. I come to you with a car, no keys, no paperwork. What do we do?
I'm going to say the following. Scrapyards exist for many reasons. This is one of them.
Yeah.
Please, I beg you, take that car to a scrapyard. No papers, no keys. How do you get the papers? Where do you start? Whatever you get for that car, if you offered 5,000 or 10,000 or 15,000 for the parts, take it and look at another vehicle.
You know what,
can never fix
guys?
that car.
Let's just hold it there. We don't know if this car was financed, because if this car is still under finance, those papers are with the bank.
Very good point.
Yeah, that's a good point you make
Okay,
there. Yeah.
so maybe they should check with the banks. Just call the banks, give them the
I think they've got the keys also possibly.
Yeah, but
No, they won't have a spare.
Yeah,
They
separate
won't have the spare.
I think I might agree with Segi here. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, if the car is financed, then the papers should be there.
Yeah.
You know, fixing the locking mechanism on the ignition.
That's an easy problem.
It's an easy problem. If you have the papers there, it's a perfectly good car. It might cost you, what, a couple of grand to just fix the keys?
Yeah.
And then what, you're going to look for a new car while you have a perfectly good car there?
That car
Yeah,
was
but-
stored in the garage for 5 years. Why was it stored for 5 years? There's so many variables here.
His brother passed away, so the
Sad.
car's
But
standing.
ultimately, the question is how easy it is to rectify a challenge you're facing. If the papers are with the bank, and that's a very good point, it might well be.
Yeah.
And it's very simple. All they need to do is go to the licensing office, say who is a title holder. They will hear West Bank, MFC, Standard Bank, etc. If they say they are the title holder, the papers are with the bank. Now, the next problem. Who's got right to those papers?
Yeah.
Who was it left to in the estate? I'm just saying there's so many variables. I go back to my scrapyard.
Yeah.
Choose your favorite scrapyard.
In this question, there are so many variables, like you mentioned. You know, if the papers are with the bank, cool, but the bank won't give it to you because you're not the registered owner. If, for argument's sake, there was a will and it got left to you, that's a different story. Then the executor of the will can sort that out. But there's so many variables. The keys are not an issue because you can take it to any specialist locksmith. They'll make you keys for it. Or even to Suzuki, they'll sort it out for you. But the papers are the big problem. It's like often when I buy cars from people, I'm not buying a car. I want the papers. I'm paying you X amount for the papers. The car's another thing. You ain't got the papers of the car, it's absolutely worth nothing. Do you agree with that,
I agree with that. I couldn't have said it any better.
Thank you. Somebody agrees with me. Well done.
But he's new to the show. You understand that, right?
We'll let him come back again.
And with that, we've come to the end of this week's show. Thank you, Michael and Seppo, for joining us and all your helpful advice. Thank you so much.
Until next time, please buckle up and let's stay safe on the roads, guys.
Quartz by Total Energies, driving lubricant innovation for all types of engines.